Hello, welcome everybody. I'm Sharon. I am part of the customer success team here at Xello, and I'm so happy to see you all for this month's Xello Remote Roundtable. It's our last one of 2021. So as you can see from the screen, the session today is really about paving the path to future success beginning in elementary school. So a Gallup student poll revealed that elementary students are far more engaged than their older peers in middle school and high school. Disengaged students are less likely to graduate. And one way to reverse that trend in later years is really to start connecting with them in earlier years. So start connecting what, you might ask? Well, we want to build students' confidence and help them make early connections when it comes to seeing themselves as successful in the future. It's all about early exposure and really helping them connect the dots. So today we brought together two expert panelists to discuss how to begin building those pathways with students in elementary school. They're going to talk about how to reach our youngest learners early on to prepare them for bigger decisions down the road. They're going to look at key elements of a K-12 college and career readiness program that is consistent, impactful, and really grows with the student. They're also going to share some of their own age-appropriate lessons and social emotional development activities that they use to engage their own K-5 students, helping to pave that way to college and other post-secondary options. So finally, they're going to share some fresh and relevant tips for collaborating with others across the district to launch an elementary-focused future readiness program for both students and staff. Okay, so let me just quickly go over the format of today's remote roundtable. It is a live webinar. We will send you the recording tomorrow with any resources that are provided, so don't worry about trying to capture those in the chat. We're also going to be posing questions to our panelists in just a few minutes, as well as at the end. So this is where you guys come into play. If there are any questions that you want to ask our panelists, please use the Q&A button at the bottom of your Zoom screen. Pop those in. Our Xello team is monitoring them, and we'll be pulling them out to ask at the end. Okay. Next, I want to pause and just tell you a little bit more about who we are here at Xello. So our company was started about 25 years ago. We have been helping districts all across North America ever since, really for students to become college, career, and future ready. Our company started from humble beginnings. 3 people started what has now become a big organization. There are over 150 of us supporting you, your colleagues, your students, literally thousands of districts and millions of students from coast to coast. And here at Xello, we really try to emphasize that our program is used to support students regardless of background, ability, or pathway to build personalized plans to help them achieve future academic success. Now, for the moment that we've all been waiting for, let me introduce our panelists. We have Diana Pena. I'm sorry if I'm not getting that exactly right. I should have practiced your last name, Diana. Okay, good. And Dreama Whitfield. So Dreama is actually the K-12 Career Advising Manager in Ohio, Akron Public Schools. And Diana is the CTE coordinator from McAllen Independent School District in Texas. So I'm going to hand it over to them to let them introduce themselves. It's far better than I could. Dreama, let's start with you.
Good afternoon. I'm Dreama Whitfield, and I'm the Career Advisor and Xello Lead for Akron Public Schools. Akron Public Schools is one of the largest school districts in Ohio. There are approximately 21,000 students enrolled in Akron Public Schools, and all students K through 12 have access to Xello. In 2018, Akron Public Schools, we transitioned to college and career academies, which means we have boundary-free high schools, and our students have the choice to attend a high school based on their career interests. 9th grade students are enrolled in a freshman academy course, and as well as other experiential learning experiences, they select academies and pathways that best fit their interests. There are 8 high schools with approximately 4 pathways, and students have approximately 55 options to choose from. Xello plays a huge role in our students selecting their pathways and planning their future success. They make that choice in the 8th grade in the fall of their 8th grade year. And so as a career advisor, I provide Xello structure, facilitate staff trainings, disseminate Xello data monthly, and use Xello data to collaborate with community stakeholders for experiential experiences for our students. I am passionate about my work in Akron Public Schools because I am a proud graduate of Akron Public Schools. When I taught my 3rd year, I taught 7th grade social studies at a school called Readinger, and LeBron James was actually one of my students. And at the time, his skill set was just developing, his leadership skill set was just developing, but because of who he became, he has brought hope to all of our students in our district, and future planning is a big part of what we do because of the hope that he brings to our district.
Dreama, I did not know that about you. That's an awesome story. Thank you so much for sharing.
That is awesome.
Okay, cool. Let me turn it over to Diana. You want to talk a little bit more about your background or what you're doing now?
Sure. Hi, my name is Diana A. Benya, and I am from McAllen Independent School District, the District of Champions, home of the 2020 Texas Superintendent of the Year and the 2021 Elementary School Teacher of the Year. Very proud to be here. My background was actually in law enforcement. I spent the first 16 years of my professional career in courts, corrections, and policing, and then went and became a 3rd grade teacher. If you've seen Kindergarten Cop, then you know my first year of teaching. I then went on to become a criminal justice and speech teacher, and then came to be an administrator. I've been with McAllen ISD now for 8 years in my role as a career a CTE coordinator. And one of the things that I do here is I oversee and support our Xello program that is the K through 5. We are also a K through 12 district when it comes to Xello. How do you get kids to know where they want to be in school, in career, if you don't start from the ground up? So very early on, we found that we needed to start at the foundation, which is our elementary counselors and our elementary students. So basically my role is to support our great team. They do all the work. I just kind of do all of the cheerleading for them and supporting them and creating different areas for them to communicate. We have 8 elementary schools that I help support. We have 5 high schools, 3 comprehensive high schools, 2 specialty high schools, and 7 middle schools. And I hope to be able to learn as well as teach you all what a great program we have here at McAllen ISD.
Diana, thank you. That is such an interesting career path. I always love hearing about the paths that people take. And honestly, that's one of the reasons that we're here today. As you said, starting early to help young learners envision what a future career path could look like. So we're going to go ahead and dive into the first question. Diana, you're going to be up first on this one. So I want you to tell us a little bit more about your college and career readiness program for elementary students. How did it get started?
When I started with the district 8 years ago, we were in the transition of looking for this platform to help us with a career awareness. Through CTE, we need to do an interest inventory in the 8th grade so that our students can choose what pathway they're going into. Back then is when House Bill 5 happened and all of the endorsements. So we went with career cruising at the time, and we started with CC Spark when CC Spark used to be from K through 5. And basically what we wanted to do was make sure that our students had that academic vocabulary, that career vocabulary, transitioning them from careers and educating them in what an endorsement was and how an endorsement tied into your career fairs or what you wanted to see yourself. You know, we kind of want to stay away from asking what kids want, what do you want to be when you grow up? It should be more like, who are you now and how is that going to help you in your future? So what we do now is help support our counselors in doing the Xello Elementary, the K through 5. And that's how we started. So that was back in like 2014, and we've been going strong with Xello ever since.
Okay, awesome. I was actually going to ask when you started this. So it's been going like this must be year 7 for you guys now. And Diana, were you, just a quick follow-up question, were you involved from the very beginning? Or at what point did you possibly take on more responsibility?
Since day one, since I
Okay.
had that elementary background, that
Mhm.
1 year that grew me into a teacher, I kind of volunteered to support the elementary side of the program.
Awesome. Okay. And Dreama, I'd love to hear from you. Same question. How did your program get started?
So actually in 2015, the state of Ohio adopted a very vague career advising policy, and it included documentation of students grades 6 through 12 having career advising. So at Akron Public Schools, we were transitioning to our college and career academy. So we thought career cruising would be a natural fit because it helped us address that policy. And then after that, we started looking at our career cruising data and also getting reports from our school counselors. And we heard a loud resounding chorus from our students that they needed more time to make decisions about what they wanted to do with their future. So because of those career cruising reports and the data that we were getting from our school counselors, we decided to transition to Xello, and we transitioned also including K through 12 to give our students all of that extra time they needed for that career exploration.
And I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit more about like if the elementary program has the same goals as the full K to 12 program, or if there are maybe different goals that you specifically focus on in elementary.
Well, we basically have the same goal, and our goal is for our students to log into Xello. And it may seem like a very vague goal, but our goal is for them to log into Xello and do that career exploration. And what we do is we measure the percentage of students who've actually logged in and completed those grade level standards that we have for them. And the whole point of it, even though that goal is vague, we want 85% of our students to have a completed grade level electronic portfolio by Xello. But what we're hoping is that we want to engage our students, create hope in our students, measure our students' well-being. And so that's the overarching goal, but we look at it based on who's actually in Xello. Are they logging in? Are our teachers using Xello? And that's the beginning.
Right. So the same goal, right? Carrying all the way through, which is to engage them.
Yes.
I love that. Okay. So next question, we're also going to start with you, Diana. What are the key elements to your elementary focus program? So I'm wondering if you can sort of break it down for us a little bit, maybe for anyone on the call who's thinking about trying to launch an elementary program. What are the key elements?
Well, one of the first elements is that if I was going to sell this program and get buy-in from the people who were using it and implementing it in the elementary, I needed to learn it, which meant I needed to do all of the lessons from kinder all the way to fifth so that I knew what I was talking about. And then it's providing support. When people are trying something new, when we first started, this is a new program, you need to be there to support them. That means you need to go in person to help train them. You need to have meetings. You need to work collaboratively with the counseling department. And anytime they call, when possible, you make videos, how-to videos to help them. Getting support from your entire district, from the very top to the teachers, the lab assistants, everybody on campus, central office staff, the community, families, everybody learning about what Xello is and how it helps students, creating those parent accounts. We do presentations for our family, our parental engagement. And one of the presentations that we always want to include is Xello and how it works, what the kids are seeing, what they're doing, and what they're gaining. So having the buy-in from the team and being there as support is one of the key elements. We have a team. We send constant email groups that the team itself helps each other. They create different systems because when it comes from you, you're more prone to use it. Another thing about what we're doing in elementary, it fits in very well with our district's emotional quotient, emotional intelligence, all of the different skills from kinder through fifth grade fit in with our self-awareness, our self-regulation, empathy, social skills, motivation. They all correlate, which is a really nice fit for getting the buy-in from kinder all the way to senior year. Your key element is be that support, create that team, collaborate with your community, with your district, with your campuses.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Diana. Dreama, over to you. Same question.
Just like Diana, our key element is to engage our students by embedding Xello into our essential experiences, which is part of our curriculum that already exists. Essential experiences are when our students go on career-based field trips. They go to museums and farms and various places in our cities. So for example, our kindergartners, they go to the Akron Children's Museum. And what they do when they're at the Akron Children's Museum is they can go to different locations within inside the museum that are career-based. Like they may go to the grocery store, they can go to the hospital, they can go to the construction site. And so what we do is we embed that into the classroom so the teachers see the connection between Xello and the rest of the curriculum that we have. You know, and as a result, in Career Town, the construction place is one of the favorite places that our elementary students go to because they have that experience at the museum. Our fourth graders in Akron Public Schools, they go to a place called Hell Farm. And basically what Hell Farm is a historic farm that brings history to life. And our students do things like make candles and different things of that nature. Then they're engaged in conversation about how did these careers transition over the years. So either before they go to Hell Farm or when they come back, they save a career that is related to that trip. So just embedding it into our existing curriculum, that's one of the key elements. And one of the, like Diana also said, we make sure that our teachers and our school counselors, they collaborate together. Like for example, one of our phenomenal school counselors, her name is Sandra Learn. When the students are in the classroom and they are saving their skill sets, she does it when they're doing a math lesson, when they're doing fractions. And so whatever skill they save, whatever they rate it, they have to turn that into a fraction. So just helping teachers see that this is not anything extra, it is an addition, is a collaboration of what you're already doing in your classrooms.
Such a good answer. Thank you so much, Dreama. I love your approach of like, Xello is not a separate thing. Really, a lot of the resources that you might be using, they don't need to be separate. They can be integrated in a holistic way that marries, you know, a field trip or an excursion with a classroom activity using a resource like Xello. So I'm really glad that you pointed that out. I do have one follow-up question for both of you, which is, what do you think is an important outcome for students? So an important outcome as they move through the elementary years, like what do you really want them to gain from using Xello through these early years? Either one, don't jump to answer.
Self-awareness.
Okay.
Self-awareness of who they are, you know, just like was mentioned prior, you know, our counselors are using Xello as part of their lessons. Our teachers are using it as part of their lessons. You know, it's getting them to know who they are and how the things that they like fit into the world of work and college. And, you know, it's getting them ready for that, of matching them with where they should be and the things that they really want.
Mm-hmm. It's true. I feel like a lot of adults could use some more self-awareness. So good to start young, right? Okay. And Dreama, what's an important outcome for you?
So we have a document called a portrait of an elementary scholar. And I believe I shared that with you all. And these are like characteristics or traits that we want our students to have once they graduate or transition from elementary to middle. So we want them to have strong habits of mind. We want them to have good social skills. We want them to be able to contribute to society. And the overarching goal is that we want them to have successful futures. We want them to graduate from high school and transition into whatever pathway they choose, but we want them to have that plan.
Mm-hmm. Planning is such an important part of it as well. Okay, so we're going to jump into our third question. We are going to start with you, Dreama, this time. So what gets students excited about career exploration? And I'm hoping maybe you could share a student success story if you have one, but what gets them excited?
What gets students excited is learning about themselves in relation to the world of work. My first year with Xello, I've been with Akron Public Schools. This is my 31st year, and this is my 4th year in this role as the career advising manager. Previously, I was a school teacher, then I was a school counselor, and I moved to this role. So I have a lot of experience working with students, and I was working with a group of students who were not on track for graduation, and one of the goals was to get them on track for graduation. So everybody came in, we had music playing, and the people were really excited. But there was one young man, he had his hoodie on and he walked in really slowly and he didn't log into his computer. So once I got everyone started, I went over and I started to work with him, and he took my matchmaker. And it came out that he wanted to be a jewelry maker. So I was like, wait a minute, I'm going to come back to you. Maybe you didn't answer some of the questions correctly, and maybe this is why it came up, because he wasn't adorned with any jewelry or anything like that. He was like, no, I love jewelry. I love being creative. I love working with my hands. And so when he was the last one to come in, the last one to log into his computer, but he was also the last one to leave the class, because once they start to learn about themselves and you can have those conversations and engage students, that's what gets them excited. Learning about themselves, having conversations, knowing that they have someone who cares and who's going to have that conversation with them, that's what gets them excited.
Dreama, your passion totally comes through when you talk about students. I love that. So he was an unexpected jewelry maker, right?
Yes, it does.
Okay, cool. And Diana, same question for you. What gets students excited about career exploration?
I don't have the same experience as Dreama. I wish I had this program when I was a classroom teacher to share with my students. So I had to go to our counselors and ask them for some help. And they say what gets them excited about it is just like what she said, getting to know who they are and how they fit into the things that they like. You may want to be a doctor, but you don't like blood, but there are other careers that you can go into that are in the medical field that would fit with you. They also say that, you would think the little ones just like all the graphics, but no, it's more than that. They actually like being able to explore everything from the academics you need to go into a career and the salary, which is what really took me by surprise, that even at that young age, they're already exploring how the careers they like, what you need to go to school to get, and also how much money they're going to make. And they, of course, love the interactive activities and that fact that they get to speak with their friends and their family about who they are ties into where they want to go in their next steps.
That is an interesting point about young learners being interested in salaries, but it actually, if I think about it, doesn't surprise me that much. I have a 3-year-old, and I think she thinks that all of my money goes to buying ice cream. She's still learning the concept of money, obviously, but I think that you both hit on an important point, which is the more students learn about themselves, the more exciting it is, right? Because it's about them. And the more we can help them connect those dots early on, like salary or adjacent careers, those are really good things that we can do to be helpful. Okay, so I'm going to jump into question 4. We're going to start with you, Dreama. So what new program tactics are you enacting this school year, 2021, and moving into 2022?
Well, I think like all districts across the nation, we are experiencing a teacher shortage. We're experiencing high turnovers in our teachers. So this year we took a holistic approach, and we're having as many staff members as we can train in Xello. So for example, our principals, our assistant principals, of course, our school counselors, our teachers, our aides, our academy coaches. We're just engaging as many people as possible to work with students in Xello so that they can have someone that they can speak with, that can engage them, who provides hope for them, who's concerned about their well-being. And then training is also ongoing at in Akron Public Schools. So what we did was, first of all, we make sure that our counselors are trained, and they're trained by someone in Xello, so they get that training. Then the second step is that they're to go back and they're to do an overview training with the people in their building. Once those people have that overview training, then we build an internal web page where teachers, anyone in Akron Public Schools could just go and click on and find all the Xello resources that they needed all in one place. After that, then we decided to find Xello champions. So we recruited some, we volunteered some, and those Xello champions, what they do is they do district training for people throughout the district along with me. And so when people start seeing that, oh, my peers are going to this training, there's somebody went to Xello, they told me about Xello, then it kind of just spreads the word organically about Xello. And so just taking that holistic approach has been very helpful for us this school year.
And a quick follow-up question for you, Dreama. As you know, this first semester is wrapping up and we are moving into the new year. I'm wondering if, despite, you know, the turnover and the challenges that continue to hit us from COVID, is there something that you want to give a shout out to, or something that you're really proud of accomplishing so far in this school year?
I think what I'm proud most of is that daily we have about 800 logins to Xello. So that lets me know that our students, our staff, that they're engaging, they're having these conversations, and those relationships are being developed, because that's what's really so important, I feel, is developing relationships with students, engaging students. And here's a tool that they can use to help start those conversations. So I'm most proud of that point, because I know that the hard work that we're doing is paying off, and our students are starting to plan for their futures.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, Diana, same question for you. What new program tactics are you enacting this year, 2021, and moving into 2022?
On my end, something new that we're trying to do is educating our counselors and our computer lab technicians that are at the elementaries in creating those parent accounts. That way, parents get to have those meaningful dinner time conversations about what their son or daughter is thinking of aspiring to in the future. So getting those parent accounts started for all students, K through 5 and secondary, is one of the things that I know at the district level that we're trying to enact. And of course, the constant training for everyone to be a user of Xello, you know, just like Dreama said, from teachers to counselors to administrators, everybody knowing what it can do and being able to read those reports. What they're doing at the campus level is they're having prizes for completion of Xello. Anything from giving out pencils and bookmarkers to a new one is a class party for the first class that has 100% completion of all their Xello missions. Some of our campuses are also giving out certificates of completion, and even just announcing the student's name on the announcements that this student has completed and is a Xello champion, and posting messages on their class dojo, letting the parents know where they're going, because Xello can be used anywhere. There are extension lessons that they can do at home. So that's some of the things. We're also getting, I do a monthly report for our awards, our shout outs that we do via email. And we got, last month was 8,000 logins between all of our 18 campuses.
Wow, both of you are blowing me away with your stats right now. Those are really good. I do have just a quick follow-up for you, Diana. You mentioned getting everyone focused on involving the parents and guardians, and so they can have, you know, conversations. Why is that important? Why is that an important goal for you right now?
It's an important goal for us because Xello belongs to everybody. We as an education, as educators, we're a team with parents. So if we're all speaking the same language and we're all building up the student as to how they feel, what they need, and how they see themselves in the future, you absolutely have to get the parents involved. Because sometimes as parents, we may have dreams and aspirations for our son or daughter to go become something, that they really don't want. And getting those conversations early on helps parents support them in who that child really is and how to get them ready for the future that they're choosing.
Right. So that it's not a later conversation in high school where the parent is suddenly surprised that the child wants to do something totally different, right? So again, starting those conversations early. I like that. I just want to remind everyone on the call with us today, please enter your questions into the Q&A at the bottom of your Zoom screen. Our team is monitoring that, and we would love to be able to post your questions to Dreama and Diana a little bit later on in the webinar. So that was a quick reminder, but we're going to keep going with the questions for you both. So Diana, we're going to start with you on this one. Now, this is a very simple question, but what we really want to do with this, how do you measure success, is we really want to drill down and find out more about evaluating your program, metrics, reporting, anything in that ballpark when it comes to measuring success.
Well, measuring how successful our elementary school program is when they go into middle school already with a great starting foundation of where they want to see themselves. Now, part of my responsibility is monitoring what our elementary schools are doing in both engagement and completion. So through our value-added progress monitoring system, we have a metric of where we feel our students should be when it comes to career awareness. And there's two things that we measure: engagement with Xello and what they're doing in the classroom, and also the total campus completion. So we see if you're doing 7 or more student activities that involve something with Xello or with different endorsement fairs or career fairs, we see you as being exceeding expectations. So that's one layer. We also measure success by the campus completion, right? We want to make sure everybody's doing all of their lessons and completing all of those missions, since they do build on one another. And those last missions in the 5th grade really help our students prepare for the 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade, where you're being asked, okay, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to major in when you're selecting your endorsement, as we do here in the state of Texas? So what we do is, if you're at 75% and above for total campus completion, you have exceeded expectations. And if you're below, we have you're meeting expectations. Or if you're like 0 to 11% or 20%, we need an action plan, and we need to sit down and talk and see, how can I help you so you can improve those scores? So those are some of the metrics that we use to help monitor what we're doing. So it's engagement and campus completion.
I like that. Okay. And I'm wondering if you can also just talk a little bit more about the cadence, Diana. Like, how often are you measuring these things? Is it, mid-year? Is it every month? Talk to us about that.
It's every month, but we've also empowered our counselors to be able to do that. So some of them, they know they're looking on a weekly basis, on a daily basis where they're at. We have some very active principals in the elementary, very competitive, who are also looking to see, okay, I know that we're at this point, because we've made them all administrators through Xello, so that they can see where they're at. So I do a monthly report, and then I do shout outs. Here are our top 3 performers for engagement and completion. And then I'll tweet out a nice picture of them and shouting out to our district and everybody who follows us on Twitter as to their successes.
I like that. A little healthy competition and some shout outs. We do that here at Xello as well. We have a shout out channel where, everyone's always complimenting each other and recognizing everyone's efforts. And it does really create a sense of community, like we're all working towards the same thing together. Okay, so Dreama, same question for you. Let's dig into your metrics. How do you measure success?
Well, one thing I can say is I love that Diana does shout outs, and I think I'm going to borrow that. And when I get back, we're going to start doing shout outs in Akron. So the first way that we measure success, and it may seem very, very simple, is that we just make sure that every student and every staff member has a Xello account. And so that was our first metric. And actually that metric was tied to a grant, and that allowed us to earn dollars, just making sure that we could prove that every student and staff member actually had an account and had access to Xello. Then from there, for grades 3 through 5, we want 85%, and this is our first year with this, we want 85% of our students to complete the About Me portion and all of the missions connected to it. And our K through 2 is a little bit different. We just want to make sure that each student builds an avatar and they visit at least one site in Career Town. As we move along and our teachers get more training and understanding of Xello, our metrics will evolve from there.
Okay, so Dreama, you're really focused on the students' engagement and usage, right?
Yeah.
And is there anything at a particular campus that you're measuring besides what you've already mentioned, in a similar way to what Diana talked about? I know you're going to take that shout out idea and implement that, but I'm wondering if there's anything at individual campuses, or are you just measuring everything at a district level?
Well, each school, as just like Diana, we measure it at a district level and by each, and you all say campus and we say school, and we measure it at each school. So monthly, each school gets a report and they can figure out where they are in terms of their percentage. And with that monthly report, they get any information, like say, for example, when Xello sends out a blog post, then in that email with their data, we send out that blog post as well. I also give them like fun tidbits, like for example, the #1 saved skill in Akron Public Schools is video games. And so then we're hoping that people take that information and maybe we can have our family night around video games, or if we're giving incentives, the incentives can have something to do with video games. So we break it down by each school so they can know every month is something different. Like last month, it was the top skill. The month before that, it was the #1 saved career, just so they can start to develop a culture around in their schools about what the students are excited about, what the students are interested in.
I love that. So you're even using metrics as another vehicle to facilitate connection and engagement, right? You're saying, hey, here's what our top careers are. Here's what our top skills are. And this is another way for you to engage with your students. That's really good. Okay, cool. We're going to move on to our next question. Dreama, let's start with you on this one. So, how do you collaborate with others in your district?
So like I said, one of the things we do is we make sure that we have district-wide training so they all can come together. They don't have to be from the same school or campus, as you all say. And so once they start coming together, then they start sharing best practices with one another. Through our college and career academies, which is filtering down to our elementary schools, we have partners. So basically we share that information with our partners to say, hey, these are the things that our students are interested in. These are the things these are the personality styles that our students have. And so then our partners develop activities for our students based on that Xello data. As well, we use that Xello data to recruit partners. We'll say, hey, your business is pet grooming. And a lot of our students love pet grooming. So we want to build a relationship with you. For example, this week, when I get back, next week, we're going to be partnering with the University of Akron, and they have a big esports program there. We're making that partnership happen because we know that our students are interested in video games. So we're taking our elected board members to this esports arena so they can play some of the video games and get a firsthand experience about what our students are so interested in.
And just a follow up for you, Dreama, you mentioned like everyone at the district can be, attending and collaborating. Do you have a regular cadence? Like how often do you meet? When do you meet?
Well, we have something called Hello Xello, and Hello Xello is usually on Mondays. And we meet once a week. There's some type of activity that teachers can attend. some training or some collaboration with other teachers just so that they can get to know it. And we do incentivize our teachers. If they come to these Hello Xello trainings, they either can get additional pay, we call it extended time. If they attend enough of them within a certain window, they also get 1 day off work. So we try to incentivize our teachers to join these Hello Xello events.
Yeah, I'm going to bring that one back to Xello and suggest that for our staff as well. I love that. Okay, Diana, same question for you. How do you collaborate with others in your district?
Okay, Dreama, I like that Hello Xello, and I think I'm going to start making videos and put them in our Teams group for them to come in. And I want to call it that Hello Xello. I like that, so I'm going to borrow that from you. We do the monthly Xello status. That's one of the emails that I sent out, and it goes out to, of course, all of our elementary school counselors and the head of the director of counseling as well, and our assistant superintendent of instruction. So we send out that, but we also do a lot of presentations. We get invited to do presentations for our parental involvement. And I saw a question in the chat, how do you get parents trained? So that's one of the places where we do that parent training in letting them know what Xello is all about. So collaborating as a district with our peers at the district level and the campus level, and also our parents during those parental involvement meetings. The Teams collaboration group that we have, where our counselors and our lab techs are a part of that group, anytime they have a question, they can pose it in that team. And if I don't have the knowledge, somebody in that group does, to help collaborate. And it's just educating our community, our teachers, our administrators on what Xello is. And anytime somebody wants an account, they get an account, because the more the community knows, the more the teachers and the students know. I mean, that's how you build the program, and that's how you help support our kids. But I'm really liking that Hello Xello.
I love that you guys are stealing each other's ideas. Hopefully other folks on the webinar with us today are going to take some of your ideas as well. I do want to just dig in a little bit more on this question. You've both talked about the cadence of your meetings and who's there, but I'm wondering if we can drill down further. Are these educators from all grade levels? Like in the Hello Xello, is that elementary, middle, high school? Is that everyone mixed together? Or do you have like sort of breakout groups depending on the school, campus, or the grade level? Dreama, do you want to go first?
Sure, and it's a combination of both. So when we're actually training teachers, it is broken down by grade level. So we'll do elementary and then we'll do secondary. However, when we're training principals or coaches, people who are district-wide, we want them to know the scope of Xello K through 12. So we bring them all together so that they can have that huge window where the students start and where we want them to go.
Okay, makes sense. And Diana, same question for you. Are educators from different grade levels mixed together? And are these, maybe a second part is like, are these educators that are classroom educators with lessons enabled? Is it mostly counselors? Like, how does it work for you?
Great question. And we're blessed at McAllen ISD that we have 3 CTE coordinators, and each one of us is responsible to support one part of Xello. So where I do the elementary and I'm training the elementary counselors, the elementary teachers, elementary principals, we have another coordinator who does middle school. So in those trainings, it's teachers, it's administrators, it's counselors. And then we have our third coordinator who does the high school. And the same, that's teachers, that's administrators, that's counselors. In the high school and middle school, they do have those selective lessons that they create. And I've even noticed in some of our elementaries, some of the elementary counselors are incorporating lessons that they have in their timeline, and they're actually adding it on their own without my guidance at all, adding those lessons into the elementary, into that grade level. So it is, for us, it's all level of teachers, all level of personnel and staff that we have, and by the 3 different coordinators.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so Before we open up for audience questions, I'm going to ask both of you. Dreama, I'll start with you. Do you have any final advice or key learnings that you'd like to share that we haven't touched on so far?
I would think my biggest piece of advice is to start small and manage your expectations. When we started with career cruising, which is how we began, we started with one school. Then once we got that one school up and running, then the next year we added on the other schools. So we kind of had a learning year, and we got to find out what works, what needed to be tweaked, what didn't work, what we need to get rid of, what we need to bring more of in. So it kind of just helped prepare us before we pushed it out to all of our entire district, and just making sure that engagement is a big part of what you do. Even like Diana said, me engaging the school counselors and engaging the teachers, like instead of just sending them an email, I go out and I see them face to face. I try and have conversations with them because I'm modeling for them what we need to do with our students and how we need to I provide hope for the teachers and the counselors. Hopefully it trickles down and they provide it for the students, and we can create a culture where we're concerned about everybody's well-being. And so if you manage your expectations in that first year, engage people, provide hope, take care of the well-being of the students and the staff, then it'll be very successful.
I like that. Start small, manage expectations. I feel like these are just broader life lessons that we could all apply, right? Okay, and Diana, same question for you. Do you have any final advice or key learnings that you want to share with everyone?
I'm going to have to agree with Dreama. You start small with your expectations, and if you're going to be that support contact, you have to know the program. You have to do your homework. You have to do your research, because that's the only way you're going to be able to support. And you start small. First year, okay, I just want everybody to use it. Let's not even measure. We didn't even measure completion. All we were measuring was engagement. Are you using the program? Are the kids using the program? And then we built, this is going on our 7th year to where, we've added that component. And then every year we increase the percentage to be exceeds expectations. This year exceeds is 75%. It was different, the years prior. So be there to support, cheer on your team, start small, and know what you're talking about when you go and deliver it and support your other team members.
Diana, now that is the second time that you've mentioned being a cheerleader. And I think that is really important as well, giving positive feedback and encouragement and saying, hey guys, we can do this together, right? We're in this together and I'm here to support you. I love that. I think the folks that work with you, Diana, must be really lucky. Okay, so we do have a few questions coming in from the audience. So I just want to remind everyone that we've been monitoring the questions throughout the webinar. We're going to try to get to all of them to pose them to our panelists, but I do apologize if we don't get to every person's question. So this one is for you, Dreama, first. When it comes to classroom activities, which activities have been the most successful with students, either in Xello Career Town or outside of Xello? So most successful classroom activities.
So the most successful classroom activity for us, again, is when the students get to go to the construction site. It's something about the eye-hand coordination and picking it up and dropping that tool or that brick into wherever they're dropping it. But I believe it's successful because those students have those essential experiences. They go to the Akron Children's Museum and they get to play, and the theme of the museum is to learn through playing. So I'm saying to give some kind of pre-knowledge or extend the knowledge once you've done that Xello piece, and that's what makes it successful, because then the students have that actual connection. Even if it's just reading a book to the students or showing a video, and then you get them started, or you get them started and then extend the lesson, those things go really far because it brings it all together for the students.
Yeah, so it's not so much which lesson, it's how you roll out that lesson, something before or something after to connect it for them, right? Okay, so this next question is also anonymous. This one, it's for Diana. Diana, how does your elementary program feed into the middle school goals in your district? Are there particular skills that are the most important to develop?
Being from Texas with House Bill 5, and that has to do with endorsements, programs of study, how it feeds into it is getting them that academic vocabulary, letting them know already, starting to know about business and industry endorsement, the arts and humanity endorsement, the public services endorsement, the STEM endorsement. So it's giving them that background knowledge. So when they get into 6th grade and continue, they're better prepared for that big question again they're going to get in the 8th grade, where they're asked, you need to choose an endorsement. And that's based on that interest inventory that they have to take in the 8th grade. I believe they take it in the 6th grade and they just keep building, but the 8th grade is the main one. But so they already know the language of an endorsement. They already know the language of a career pathway. So that's how it helps us build into that very important 8th grade year.
Okay, nice. We do have a couple more questions coming in, but I also just want to ask both you, Dreama, and Diana, feel free to share your district site or any other resources in the chat. Our team is going to pick those up and include them in the email tomorrow for everyone on the call so they can follow up on those resources. Okay, so this question is for both of you. Dreama, I will start with you. This one's from Tia Marie Sanders. She says, how do you manage when you have 4 schools and only 1 career person? Any tips? Pro tips?
Yes, it is very difficult, and that's where collaboration is key. Working with people who can be your voice and who can champion Xello for you. I have 42 schools that I'm responsible for. I'm responsible for all 21,000 students, grades K through 12. And it's not work that I can do alone. So I try and bring as many people along with me as possible, just identifying those Xello champions. And like Diana said, and just cheerlead for those people and keep them engaged and involved so that they can spread the word with you.
Very nice. And Diana, do you have any similar tips or anything that you would want to add? If you have 4 schools, only 1 career person, what can you do?
We're very blessed in McAllen ISD that we've got intervention counselors, we've got campus counselors, we've got our lab techs. This is where our counselors got the help. Since a lot of the Xello is completed during computer lab, they trained their computer lab assistants to help. Now those computer lab personnel, they're the experts in Xello now. So it's finding somebody at that campus that can become your champion and giving them all of that education and support so that they can be your contact person and that support person there. And for sure, get a hold of that principal and let them know how valuable this experience for the students is, so they can help you assign that person who really buys into the program.
Right. So really cultivating a champion and getting that buy-in. A quick follow-up on that one. What do you think is a good way to get buy-in when you're introducing something new? Like this is kind of a flip question too, is like when you faced a challenge or a roadblock or pushback, how do you overcome that? And how do you get that buy-in knowing that there's tremendous value in the program? Maybe Dreama, can you take this one?
I think that we had talked about this earlier, just making teachers and even across the district, people understand how that you can embed this into your curriculum. Like it's a blended learning experience. So you're not doing anything extra. What you're doing is adding to what you already have and showing people how robust it is and the difference it makes in students, behavior, their attendance, their grade, their school success as a whole.
Diana, anything that you would want to add to that when you face a roadblock or a challenge? How do you get that buy-in or overcome that?
Well, a challenge is just an opportunity to show your talent, right? And your creativity.
I love that.
So being the support, knowing that if that person, because anytime we start something new, a lot of times they're resisting. But a lot of times you resist because it's the fear of the unknown. So if you're there to support them and let them know, I've got your back, I'm going to be there if you get stuck, You can't break the program. I'll be there to help you. That's how you get them, having them own it, asking them for advice. What do you think? How can we make this better? You have to create 100% team.
Thank you. Okay, one last question, also anonymous. How do you talk about career exploration with elementary classroom teachers? What's the language that you use? How do you get them excited about it? How do you talk to them about career exploration so that they can then talk to their students? Dreama, do you want to start on this one?
And I would say just that, because you want to say that it is exploration and that you're just helping students discover more about themselves and more about the world of work. Sometimes, as Diana said, you get resistance because people feel, oh, you're trying to box a student in, you're trying to make them choose a career or a field of interest when they're only in the 2nd or 3rd grade. But just helping people understand that it's exploration. I think the big word is exploration and self-discovery.
Okay, so focus on exploration, not on, like Diana said earlier, what do you want to be, right? It's all about self-discovery and exploration. Okay, nice. Diana, do you want to add anything to that one?
Have them do the interest inventory. It's fun, but then tell them they can't change careers if they came out something else.
Okay.
But that, having them do that so that they get to see the end result, letting your elementary counselor see what happens in middle school and in high school, because a lot of them are parents of kids that are there, so that they can make the connections. And the same with the teachers. The very first year that we started, that's what I did. Everybody, let's do that interest inventory. Surprisingly, it said that I should have been a police officer and then an educator, and lo and behold, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I hear you. I was surprised the first time I took the assessment as well. It was all of the jobs that I've had so far in my life. So I think that's right. It's a really good way to introduce it to your elementary classroom teachers by having them do it themselves. It looks like we have one last question that snuck in. We have a robust Xello use at the secondary level, gaining in middle school level. And I have a concern that if we use the program in elementary, students will become program weary. Any thoughts? Diana, you're shaking your head. What do you think, Diana?
No, they're going to actually see how everything connects. They're going to be looking forward to what are they going to explore in middle school and high school. We haven't had that in McAllen ISD.
Okay.
The opposite.
Okay, awesome. Dreama, anything to add?
Just like Diana said, they're going to be looking forward to it. And one of the best things is when students look backwards, it's like, oh, wow, when I was in the 6th grade, I can't believe that I wanted to be a fisherman. And now I really want to be an architect. So it helps the students see where they come from and who they used to be. And so it's a great experience. I don't think they'll be weary.
Nice. It helps them chart their own evolution, if you will. Okay, nice. Well, finally, I just want to remind everyone that is here with us in this webinar today that we are truly here to help. You can visit our Xello Support Center 24/7 at help.xello.world or get in touch with our client solutions team. They are awesome. They will help you get connected with the right person at Xello. You can reach them at help@xello.world. And finally, I want to invite everybody to our very first remote roundtable in the new year on January 27th. That one is going to be focusing on building a plan that grows with students from middle to high school. So building on what we talked about today in elementary and then moving on to middle and high school. We will email you an invitation next month, but you can also stay tuned on social. And finally, thank you. Thank you everyone for joining us for this last remote roundtable of 2021. It was truly a pleasure to have you all participate. Thank you for your questions. And to our amazing panelists, Dreama and Diana, you were both fantastic. We hope everyone has a wonderful holiday season. Thank you so much.